Hi, my name is Tamar Myers. This is the second in a series of 3 videos about making the best of sitting. In the last video, we talked about setting up your chair and your desk. In this video, we're going to talk about how to use your body. I'm going to start by saying that everything I'm giving you is a suggestion, but you know your body best of all. If anything I'm telling you doesn't work for you, then let it go. Also, everything that I'm talking about are concepts that I've learned from studying with Judith Aston. You can find out more information about Judith Aston at astonkinetics.com. The most important thing when you're sitting is to keep your spine moving as a unit. What most people do when they go to sit is, or when they've been sitting for a long time, is they start to collapse their spine. And what that means is that they move their pelvis in this direction instead of hinging from the hips. Let's take a look at a skeleton so you'll understand what you're sitting on when you actually sit. This is Blanche. She's going to help us out today. So, here's Blanche sitting on my knee. And this is her pelvis. It's this bowl that supports the spine. And at the bottom of the pelvis, you've got these 2 bones called the ischial tuberosities, or sits bones. And that's what you're actually sitting on when you're sitting on a chair. So you want to balance on these 2 sits bones, but not roll them back. That's what's going to make you slouch. So when you go to sit, when you go to work at your desk, you want to be balanced on your sits bones, and you want to hinge from the hips to go forward. Okay, that's very different than doing this. Generally, when you do this, first of all, your head is no longer being balanced on your spine, and it's very heavy, and all these muscles are working really hard to keep it up. And also, when you go to look at anything, you then have to crane your head forward. This may be a bit of an exaggeration, but that's the idea. When you keep your pelvis and your spine together and you hinge from your hips, you have a lot more support for your head. And then you can go ahead and reach for your keyboard or the mouse or the phone from this position. The next thing you want to think about is your feet and your sits bones together being a base of support for all of your movement. So when you go to move, if you think about this base being as supportive as possible for your movement, it will allow you to do more with less effort. So if I'm going to be reaching in that direction, I can reach out with my leg and support my hand in that direction. If I'm going to be spending a lot of time mousing with this hand, and I reach out with this leg just a little bit, I have more support under that hand, and I can push off from my foot and actually support my arm and my hand while I'm using the mouse. Okay? If I'm sitting just in a neutral position, and I have my feet, fairly wide apart, like hips width apart, it gives me a nice broad base of support. If my feet are too close together, or if my legs are crossed, I have very little base of support for my spine. So, if you're sitting for a long time, get yourself a nice good base, hinge from the hips to go forward, and keep your head in line with your spine. Alright, the most important thing to think about when you're sitting, I have to say after giving you these suggestions, is that the best solution is to not sit for too long. New studies are showing that actually sitting for long periods of time is really not very good for your body. So please try to take breaks, get up as often as you can, move around for a minute, and then come back to sitting in this good neutral position. Thank you.